Hi everyone, Shirtlad here. It has certainly been a while since I've covered Senjou no Kizuna Portable, and thanks to the user, Ragnar0, I've been given just the right excuse to do so, since they wanted me to go over the game's gem striker. The RGM-79FP is a close-range fighting type in this one. It is the 5th most expensive unit from this category at 190 points, so about the same cost as the Dom Cannon Twin Gun type and the Gem Head. In terms of armor, or rather HP, we're looking at a solid 280. You can get this one fairly late into the game, since to unlock it, you need to have a total of 100 points in the close-range fighting type category, which is at least 50 sorties in an optimal scenario, on top of reaching the rank of Private First Class or higher. In its default configuration, the Gem Striker comes with a trio of weapons: the 100mm machine gun A, the 60mm Vulcan gun, and a beam saber. Much like the Gem Ground type and the Gundam Easy-8, the primary machine gun comes in 3 flavors: free round burst, semi-auto, and full auto, labeled A, B, and C respectively, each with their advantages and drawbacks. Oh, and the beam saber can of course be replaced with the twin beam spear, or what I'd like to affectionately call the fork. Sadly, unlike with one of the Gem Striker variants in the game's arcade version, you cannot chuck it at people. The 100mm machine gun A is probably the most versatile of the 3 variants you get, shooting in 3 round bursts, which makes it ideal for staggering the enemy, combo finishers, and engaging several targets at once if need be. The ammo pool of 30 rounds is quite generous, and reload speed is decent as well. Overall, it's pretty much your usual free burst machine gun, and it certainly goes well with the rest of your loadouts. If you're going for a good single target damage output, the 100mm machine gun B is what you should grab. It fires slower than its A and C brethren, and the magazine is downsized to 24 rounds. But it's fairly accurate and hits fairly hard for machine gun standards. You can still fire it decently fast with good timing, but from my experience it still lacks the suppression capabilities of its counterparts, which may force you to fall back to Vulcans, or pick your battles more carefully. It's not the best for quick draws, but if you're one of the people who are really cracked at the quick draw cancel strat, you might get some mileage out of it in this department as well. The 100mm machine gun C is the fastest firing of the bunch, sharing A's 30 round capacity, but running through it much faster, understandably so, given that it's full auto. While its projectiles do not hit as hard as the others, it's still a quick way to knock down enemies, while dealing damage to them in the process. The damage and accuracy aren't the best, but that's not the reason you're using it, now is it? The 60mm Vulcan guns in the second weapon slot serve a similar role to other Vulcan guns: suppression and punishing tackles. Comes with 24 rounds and fires in 4 round bursts. The standard beam saber the Gem Striker gets from melee is plenty good by its own, providing you with 3 hit combos with a solid damage across the board. Coupled with the machine guns, it will allow you to chew through enemy HP or armor fairly fast, and you can even squeeze in a follow-up shot or 2 if you're feeling cheeky enough. Much like the 100mm machine gun A, it's a standard issue as standard issue gets, but it makes up for it in versatility. The same cannot be said for the twin beam spear. This is a weapon with a very specific purpose and a narrower range of use cases, which is offset with higher damage, courtesy of its 5-hit melee combo. Similarly to certain raid units in Gundam Battle Operation 2, you have to hold down the input and charge the melee attack, then release it. Unlike GPO2's charge melee though, you can release the charge prematurely, which allows you to attack sooner, albeit with less damage. There's 2 major downsides to using the beam fork, being that you can't do follow-up shots from its combo, and since you have to charge it, it is much easier to intercept or counter when you get overzealous. Be it tackles, knockdowns, or just clashing with other people's melee, there are several ways in which your melee onslaught can be stopped. Although you can and should employ tactics, such as attacking from a partial charge or flanking the target, in order to get the most out of the twin beam spear anyway. It's a great weapon, but you have to be clever about using it. And as far as setting parts go, you get 4 armor and mobility settings each, letting you spec into one at the expense of another, as well as 3 EX setting parts that let you adjust its performance even more. When it comes to unlocks, it has 14 total, 3 of which being weapons, the machine guns B and C, as well as the twin beam spear. The rest is setting parts. All things considered, the Gem Striker can be quite the menace on the battlefield and certainly provides a solid upgrade in sheer stats when compared to some of its lower cost peers. Given the tools at its disposal, you can definitely run it as a sort of a high-end general-purpose close-range unit, or specialized towards particular niches. Despite being fairly powerful, it does suffer from the lower effective range, as well as the lateral boosting limitations of its close-range fighting type siblings. Not that it would hinder you that much, provided you played smart. If there's anything to add, I'd only mention that there is currently a Senjou no Kizuna Portable English patch being worked on, up on GitHub by Cleopatra-chan/Honkuma. Admittedly, it's a bit rough around the edges, since the author doesn't have the best grasp of English, but it definitely comes in handy if you're a Nian speaker, and the fellow has put in a commendable effort to get the whole thing running, period. To apply it, simply grab the zip file, unpack the folder with the serial number, copy it, go into your PSP's local files, i.e. the memstick folder, then into the PSP and textures subfolders respectively. Paste it into the textures folder to enable it, and whenever you feel like disabling it, just change the folder name a little. I'll have the thing linked in the description, so that you can get it yourself. It's very much a work in progress, so if you have constructive feedback or words of encouragement, do let Honkuma/Cleo-chan know. I reckon they'll appreciate it. Once again, I'm rather glad for another excuse to cover Senjou no Kizuna Portable. Many thanks for the video suggestion, and until next time, this has been the Shirt Lad, signing out.